Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. If you did not see our stream last night about the El Paso shooter, you need to check that out. But we will fill you in today on that, even though today is our European and UK news. We do it every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, so Nigel Farage says that the big fella is going to win with a landslide, he says. Nigel
Trump
Farage
is the big fella.
Yeah, the man, Mr. Brexit, and dubbed Mr. Brexit by Donald Trump, says he hopes to spend more time in the U.S. once Britain is out of the European Union. He was asked the question, what if, since the ambassadorship to the U.S. is open, would you take it? And he said, it would be much fun. He said he would love it. He would love it. But he's got too much work to do right now. Yeah. And so he talked about the whole tweets about the squad. And he said, sometimes, even as a supporter and a friend, you feel like a kid watching Doctor Who when it talks about Donald Trump and his pretty brisk style. But then he says, I know. I thought, oh dear, about Trump's send her back tweet. And then you realize 48 hours on, it was genius, because what's happened is the Democrats gather around the squad, which allows him to say, oh, look, the squad are the center of the Democrat Party. He's remarkably good at what he does. He does things good way, and he's remarkably effective.
Yes, he is. Well said, Nigel.
Speaking of remarkably effective, no one is more effective than Nigel Farage in the UK. You know, nobody is more effective than him. And so Boris is smart, which I don't know if he actually is or not. He will make this pact. Farage predicts general election, urges Boris to embrace Tory Brexit party pact. Nigel Farage has urged Boris Johnson, Bojo, to get his mojo on, to embrace a Tory Brexit party election pact, with the Tories standing aside in working class constituencies where Farage's party is posed to unseat Labour, and Farage's party standing aside in constituencies more favourable to the Tories. The former UKIP Supremo and veteran MEP made the proposition during an interview with The Times. In the wake of the Tories losing the seat of Brecon and Radnorshire in the by-election as a result of the Welsh separatist Plaid Cymru Party. What is that? Tell me what that is.
Cymru.
What's the Welsh separatist party? And the far-left Green Party standing aside so the Lib Dems could eke out a victory for an explicitly Remain candidate. With the combined Tory and Brexit party vote outstripping the majority, this ad hoc Remain alliance won. Mr. Farage was blamed by some Leave supporters for the Brecon result, but pointed out that in the Peterborough by-election, it was the Tories who cost the Brexit party the seat, and urged Boris Johnson to reconsider his opposition to a strategic electoral pact. Just look at Peterborough, where the Conservatives split our vote, he said, indicating that the Brexit party would not have been ripped to the post by Labour in somewhat dubious circumstances. We covered that before. There was a guy there who had already been arrested for voter fraud, and he was there counting votes and all the craziness going on. If the Tories had stood aside for their man as a Leave alliance candidate, if the judgment is we cost the Tories in Brecon, exactly the same applies to us in Peterborough. Officially, the Tory stance is now much more explicitly supportive of Brexit, deal or no deal, than it was under Remain voter Theresa May, and the party's poll results have improved as a result, seemingly at the expense of Farage's party. The reason Boris Johnson is up in the polls is because Joe Public thinks he's going to deliver a no-deal Brexit. The fantasy is that we leave on October 31st, and Boris lives up to what he promised. He says, I don't see it. Perturbed by Johnson's recent hints that Britain could stay in the EU's customs union, single market, and associated free movement regime for 2 years. He did say that. It might, once, we could have a no deal Brexit, but let's, it might take 2 years to get us out and to get us moving. Farage's fear is that Johnson's apparent embrace of the no deal is merely a negotiating tool.
Yeah, I think so too.
With the EU. Mm-hmm. That's why the EU thinks that he's fudging.
Right. He says, I think it was a means of winning the Tory leadership, and it means a means of trying to suppress the Brexit party vote, and I just don't think it's sincere. So as Resistance Chicks, we've been saying we don't trust Boris as far as we could throw him. Obviously, I would prefer him over Theresa May, but that's, neither here nor there. I gotta say, I know how you guys feel. Some of you feel about Farage because of Tommy Robinson, but when it comes to Brexit, since I don't live there and I don't understand a lot of UK politics as much as I wish that I did, I'm gonna have to go with Nigel on this one.
Me too. I'm totally going with Nigel on this one. Totally going with Nigel.
So, but it's not exactly bad news, right? If you guys don't get a no-deal Brexit and you don't leave on October 31st, Nigel is correct.
Right.
And we're going to see the biggest change in UK politics, I think, ever.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm actually kind of excited. So either way, it's a win-win.
Yeah, I agree.
Totally a win-win. Salvini vows criminal migrants will be punished, deported. We are becoming a serious country again. Italian Interior Minister Matteo Salvini has the promise to expel a Nigerian migrant who attacked a passenger on a tram in Florence Friday morning, sending her to the hospital. The Nigerian, a 22-year-old asylum seeker who was already deported once in 2017 and after re-entering the country illegally, was again deported in 2018, punched a 36-year-old woman seated in front of her on the tram. The assault provoked a scene on the tram, leading other passengers to restrain the woman until the police could arrive and arrest her. The police took the Nigerian attacker to the hospital for a psychiatric evaluation, having found her to be in a confused state. And Facebook post Salvini, who has been committed to restoring the rule of law, said that sort of behavior will no longer be tolerated.
Good.
She was attacked. A woman in Florence punching her while both were on board the tram. She attacked a woman in Florence, punching her while both were on board the tram, and all because her body commanded it. The victim is a 36-year-old wounded by a 22-year-old Nigerian, already expelled in 2017, denounced in 2018, and an asylum applicant in
Palermo.
We are already at work to expel this criminal from Italy and all those like her, hardly refugees. We are becoming a serious country again. Only those who have permission may enter. Whoever commits a crime will pay, and those who enter illegally will be deported.
I love it. Boom.
Wow. There you have it, folks. There you have it. All right. So, I'm sure that Barry and Worthlook sent you the same links on the flooding.
Oh, I haven't had time I can pull them up, though.
So there's a dam that broke in the UK, and the Royal Air Force are now bringing in giant bags of rock and sand to stop it. From what I understand, no one has been seriously injured, but it's pretty extreme. It's pretty extreme flooding. And so I kind of wanted to cover it. The town has been evacuated. Kind of a big deal, as this dam wall just kind of collapsed. And a lot of people are blaming this on, I've heard some people blame it on climate change. They said that Europe has had record heat and now some record rain. And what happens when we build things and build buildings, nature has a way of
really flowing.
Nature kind of has a way of saying, you know what? You put a building in my way. Because when you look at the Grand Canyon, and you look at how rivers are made, flooding does occur worldwide, and it is a thing.
Right.
And so we put buildings up. It doesn't mean that it's climate change or global warming. We don't have to go and try to blame some sort of carbon thing. But we can just say, wow, this is crazy. It's Mother Nature. It's an act of God. We've been having it for years.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Very, very fast. Have you ever seen it like this?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, occasionally in the winter, but it's usually fairly short and doesn't last very long. I've not seen it this sustained for this long.
Simon, I'll let you go. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Simon.
Cheers, thanks.
That's Simon Perry joining, and I'm joined in the studio by our correspondent Sarah Campbell. The helicopters we see have just arrived, and they are remarkable pictures, just showing the water pressure that there is, and that dam. Well, all eyes are on that at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the emergency services have been looking at the dam there, the Tobruk Reservoir, since that hole appeared sometime over the last few hours, and obviously to do with the heavy rain that this area has experienced over the last couple of days, and just in the last sort of hour and a half, The Environment Agency, first of all, issued a severe flooding threat to life, it's called. So obviously that's like the most serious situation. And in that sort of official release, they say the river levels in the River Goyt, so that very fast-flowing river you could see at the bottom of the reservoir, the bottom of the dam, they say could rise rapidly as a result of the water coming from the Toddbrook Reservoir. And that was then accompanied by the police evacuation order. Now, earlier today, police had been advising local businesses to close, but just around 2 o'clock this afternoon they issued an evacuation, and I'll just let you know what they're saying. The advice that they're giving is obviously because of this ongoing situation. They're saying to local people, if you are being asked to leave your home, then attend the Chapel High School where further direction will be given. There are 6,500 people who live in Whaley Bridge, so it's not an inconsiderable size of town. And they say police officers and staff will be at the school to provide further direction. They don't know how long the evacuation will take.
It didn't look, just from the shot, I don't think that you could quite get the feel for how big of a hole that was, just because of the way that the video. But when you looked at the tiny little people up there, you really could get a feel for that, and that's really, really scary. So
Right. Yeah.
I know that you guys have been having record rain, as we had up until a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah. I'm bringing up, here's the pictures. The Royal Air Force helicopter airlifts in 400 tons of soil to shore up the reservoir dam above the town here.
That's
the Royal Air
crazy.
Force helicopter and firefighters are shoring up a reservoir wall in northwest England amid fears that the rain-damaged dam could collapse. The Chinook is dumping bags of sand and gravel to reinforce a wall in the 19th century Toddbrook Reservoir as emergency workers used pumps to lower the water level behind the dam. Hundreds of people were evacuated from the town of Whaley Bridge on Thursday, where with police officers going door to door to notify residents. People in the town located 175 miles northwest of London were advised to stay with friends and family. Heavy rains have caused these flash floodings here, so they're trying to prevent this break from getting bigger.
David
here.
says, no one hurt, nothing to do with climate change. Dam was upgraded in the 80s and not well maintained. This is a water authority problem.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So speaking of climate change, all of your favorite, this makes me sick. It's very hard for me to even get this story out. So all your favorite celebrities got on their
Big fancy jets.
planes and jets and made this giant carbon footprint right in the middle of your face, saying, you go use a little scooter, but we get private jets. If this isn't the cognitive dissonance, Prince Harry and Meghan have decided, did you know this, that they are going to only have 2 children to save the planet.
Right. It's the population control. Only 2, whereas everybody else should have none.
So, but his brother, and I think that this is probably where some of the rifts are. I follow Yahoo News, and they're very gossipy, just because I have an email there. And so it comes up. And so every day it's something Meghan Markle.
Oh my gosh.
It's something William and Catherine. Kate. William and Kate. And they're always supposedly fighting. Well, I could see why. Because I don't think I showed you guys this, and I think I should.
Okay, but here's the good news. Unless Prince William gets Diana'd, Prince William will be the heir, and Harry will not. And so it doesn't really matter what Harry and Meghan Markle say.
Meghan Markle's Vogue issue shows the limits of radical royalty. Guest editing made her a target. So Meghan Markle is an American leftist, and she is not actually a big fan of the royalty. I can't even get it out. She's not a fan of the royalty that she married into.
Right. She's almost like a witch that's gone inside to like cast a bunch of spells and tear it down from within.
You might have wanted to find somebody else.
Honestly,
She literally is she's an actress, by the way. So if you wanted to find, you know what? I am just tired of these British royals, and I'm just gonna like make him fall in love with me and then we're just going to destroy it from within.
I don't think, because I think that the royal family knows this. I don't think they really would have let Harry marry her if he was heir to the throne. I don't.
Could you imagine?
I don't think they would have let him do it.
She did this guest issue of Vogue magazine, and she picked all these chicks. All right, 37 years old. Was always destined to struggle with the vow of silence demanded by royal wives. You're not supposed to be political. They're supposed to be apolitical.
Right. Like, you're not supposed to know that the Queen is a Brexiteer.
She recommended Noam Chomsky on Instagram. She voted for Hillary Clinton. If Diana was the people's princess, Merkel wants to be the woke duchess. Her determination is not in doubt, but how radical can a member of the hereditary monarchy really be? The choice of the Duchess of Sussex as a Vogue guest editor makes immediate sense. This is what this article says. She's an outspoken feminist, an actor, first mixed race. Harry got on stage and said, "We don't realize how unbiased racism is deep inside of our bones." And to me, you know what that says? He looking at his black wife, black and white, because she's half black, half white. His half black, half white wife through a racist lens. And when he sees her,
Right.
he has white supremacy.
Yeah.
And
So he's projecting that onto everybody else.
and I'm just like, hey, Merkel, like, I realize that, like, you're woke, but you're not that woke. Because he thinks you're like a peg below him.
Right.
Because, like, internally he's struggling with racism.
Yeah.
Because what we only project on other people what's inside of us.
Yeah.
And I don't have internalized racism, and I don't project that upon anybody else. I don't look at other people as thinking that they're gonna, like, have some sort of internalized racism.
Yeah.
It only once something comes out of their mouth that I'm shocked.
Right.
Okay, when I get around black people, when I'm around my black friends or black acquaintances, people to me. And then when certain things come out their mouths, sometimes I'm happily surprised, and sometimes I'm shocked, you know, like.
But it's okay. So let's be honest, though. To me, it's not a matter of racism. It's a matter of cultural differences.
Yeah, exactly.
I get around black people, and sometimes I'm like, wow, this is way different than my life. I can say the same thing when I go to different parts of the United States with different cultures of white people.
We could just go into southern Kentucky.
Yeah, or you could go
Whoa,
into
this is
Wisconsin,
different.
or you can go into New York
Or
or California. And you can be around white people and you're like, wow, this culture is so different than what I'm used to.
Right.
And so when we get around black people or we get around Hispanic people, there's nothing wrong with saying, wow, this culture is very different than my own. And a lot of times when we say that, we want to learn more. We want to know more. We want to be more engaged. That doesn't actually make you a racist.
No.
And so what these people are saying is, well, black people are different, or Hispanic people are different, or Indian people are different, and they're different from me. So since I recognize that they are different from me, then I must be a racist. You know, instead of just saying, you know what, everybody is, I mean, from family to family, people
we have
are
a P.O.
different.
box.
107 Milford, Ohio 45150. Send us your letters. We'll read them on air. I mean that. Send us your letters. I want to hear from you guys. Everybody here wants to hear from you. So, Maia says, thanks, Leah. I needed that today. All right, you guys, we love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. And we will see you guys back here for sure on Friday at 6
But
p.m.
before then, God willing.
Yeah, because we've got a lot to talk about. And we'll hopefully get an update on this Dayton shooter. And who knows if we'll bring that to you. And more about the El Paso. Go to resistancechicks.com and share that article.
Yep.
Good afternoon, good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are around the world, because we have people from all over the world. Thank you for being here for our worldwide news.
Love the Lord God with all your heart and soul and mind. Love your neighbor as yourself.
All right, you guys. We love you.
I was called